Hello everybody and welcome back to M&J Games. I am Michael. Now, I was going to do transfer tracks for the next tutorial, but I'm actually going to throw this one in between the station building and the transfer tracks. But what I do want to show you real quick is on that last tutorial, we just did some of this these hazard strips. I went ahead and finished that up right here. But what today's tutorial is about is some basic camera tricks that you can use, and I need to give a lot of other people credit for these because that's where I learned them from. So the first one is, the key is you got to have a keyboard, and so Ted07386 is his username on the PlayStation Network, or his YouTube channel is Coaster Creations. If you hit the center, so you know, a lot of times if you want to get cinematic shots, but you see you've got that circle in the middle, all that you need to do, like if we see this coaster coming here and I'm like, well, I want to get a good shot of it coming around this corner, all that we need to do is if you hit spacebar, it eliminates that, right? Well, but you also have the HUD down here. So what Matty, who that's his YouTube channel as well, what he taught me is that if you have a keyboard and you hit Control Alt or Control Shift and G, it removes the entire hub. Now the difference between this one compared to the other one is if all you hit is the spacebar, but you move it, that circle comes back, right? But if you do Control Shift G, you can move it and the circle doesn't come back. The only thing is you can't move it to the other type of camera, and you can't change the time of day. At least in my knowledge. You can still fast forward. It just doesn't tell you what's happening, but you can't change the time of day. Like I'm trying to, normally the buttons you'd press to change time of day aren't not quite working, right? You can't change camera angles because, actually, yeah, no, never mind. It does let me change camera angles. It's still pressing the same buttons. It's just it removes the HUD. So you just got to know which buttons to press, because now if I press square and L1 again, it then moves me back to the normal. Square and L1, I can then do this one right here. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And then we got two more to talk about too. So now how you get out of this is you just hit circle and it gets out of it. Okay, now one that I just learned recently, another one by Ted that he told me is, you know, sometimes we get caught up where we're trying to elevate and we try to figure out, well, what's the best way to move the camera? Well, if you just press square and you move up or down on the keyboard, it just moves the height of your camera without you having to move back or do anything like that. So that's a pretty cool trick. I appreciate you, Ted, for teaching me that one, because I had no idea about that. So that's really cool. So let's see if that works with the HUD not on. Yeah, so if you just understand the controls, you can basically have the HUD off a lot, especially when you're doing your cinematic shots. And see, I'm still on this weird control, so if I hit that one and then I go back to normal. And yeah, so I think at least if you're new to this game, the hardest one to control is when, I don't know the technical name for this, but when you're in this camera mode, because you're using the other joystick to zoom in, and that's the hardest one to get used to in my opinion. Now the last one to talk about real quick, and let me, it looks like, since I opened my park to try to get a guest in here for something, now this last one's cool, and I was confused about it for a while because I didn't fully understand what it's talking about, but it's called the Plipcam. So the key is everything's got to be capitalized. So like for example, if you just click this one right here, you see the whatever that guest is seeing, right? But if we type in Plipcam, sorry, it's got to all be capitalized. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this because I've done this before, Plipcam, and you hit R2. What it instantly does is it takes you down to a guest eye view. So now I'll go ahead and play this. So now you're not technically that guest anymore, but you are at a view where you can't go up, you can't go down, you follow the path of the guest. So like for example, if we're going up here, we end up walking up the ledge, right? Which is pretty cool. So you're literally following the terrain, following the path, which I think is super cool. You're just at guest eye level. So here, like, it's not letting me go because, well, you can't jump off a cliff like that in the guest in the game. So it's really, I mean, it's really a cool camera because now we can kind of come around and look and see basically what the guests see from their view. Because even using the other camera, sometimes it's hard to get down in the guest view. So you can see this is I really like how close to the path this becomes. To be honest, I really like this coaster we created in one of the previous tutorials. I think that'd be a fun coaster. But yeah, and then to get out of this, which here's the only thing that's a little frustrating about this camera. Like if you're doing this, like filming a review on a park or something, and then you hit this button to get out of it, it takes you back to where you were at when you went into that camera mode. So just be mindful of that. So those are all some of the basic camera tricks that you can use. And obviously I just want to make a video so that everybody can learn them because there were so many people that are instrumental in me figuring these out. And so I just wanted to help those who maybe didn't know these tricks and tools. So the quick refresher, Plipcam, all capitalized, gets you down in guest form or guest eye view, and you follow the path so you don't have to worry about accidentally raising or lowering the camera. Pressing the space button on if you have a keyboard gets rid of the circle. Pressing Control Shift G using the right Control and Shift and G gets rid of your HUD. And then pressing square allows you to move up and down. Okay, so that's it for today's tutorial. As always, make sure and hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the content that we are providing for you here at M&J Games, and make sure and hit that like button. And I really appreciate all the support and everything that we've gotten so far, guys. So I really hope you guys have a great rest of your day.